Here's what's happening right now. The second presidential debate of 2016 is underway at Washington University tonight in St. Louis. Good evening. I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Justin Kolar. The debate is now an hour in. It's a town hall format, so audience members are asking half the questions tonight. KMU8's Meg Hilling has been on the campus all day and has more on the scene unfolding at WashU as the debate wraps up. Meg, how you doing tonight?
That's right, guys. Thanks. As you can see behind me, the campus has quieted down since earlier in this afternoon as most supporters have gone into viewing parties. When speaking with supporters on the campus earlier this afternoon, a lot of them expressed concern about the audio recordings that were released earlier this week in which Trump referenced women using vulgar language. And much like the parties, the viewpoints on the matter are split.
Donald Trump's recent hot mic comment was 11 years ago, and as a voter, I really don't care what he said 11 years ago.
I'm really curious to see how she's going to react to his aggression and kind of his bringing up some stuff from the past. So it's going to be very interesting to watch tonight. I can't wait.
Some supporters, however, are more concerned that their candidate won't be on the stage at all.
Really disappointing because, we have Trump on the right and Hillary on the left, and you have this huge 6-lane highway in between that nobody's trying to appeal to.
Because of work that I did, and children.
Now, almost immediately tonight, once the debate began, the topic of the audio recordings came up. Hillary said it's obvious from the recordings that it's quite clear what type of man Trump is, to which Trump responded that he has nothing but great respect for women, and women have nothing but great respect for him. The debate will wrap up at 9:30 tonight, so be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and at KMU.com for the latest happening at the campus. Reporting live at Washington University, Meg Hilling, KMU8 News.
Thanks, Meg. Protesters marched down the streets of St. Louis ahead of tonight's second presidential debate. Hundreds of demonstrators marched to Washington University, the site of the debate. Many people held signs as they chanted Black Lives Matter and No Justice, No Peace. A dozen female voters gathered at the debate site dressed as sections of a brick wall, stood in a line forming what they called a wall against misogyny. Sections of their outfit were adorned with words Donald Trump has used to describe. Investigators say the deputy who was assaulted has been with the Johnson County Sheriff's Office roughly 6 months. In Southern California, a standoff that lasted all night ended this morning with the surrender of a suspect in the shooting deaths of 2 police officers in Palm Springs. Tonight, a community and its police department are mourning the deaths of the officers, one just starting out, the other nearing retirement. Steve Patterson reports.
A night of sorrow in Palm Springs as the community mourns the deaths of 2 police officers killed in the line of duty. Fellow officers.
The annual Hartsburg Pumpkin Festival continued this afternoon. More people than ever flocked to the small town that normally holds just about 100 residents. Hartsburg's Pumpkin Festival has been called the Little Mouse That Roars. Working off a budget of just a few $1,000s, the festival draws crowds in the thousands annually. In fact, this year the festival broke its attendance record set back in 2005. More than 65,000 people flooded into the small town.
It's wonderful that this town opens up its doors and brings in this many people into this small town, and can't have enough pumpkins.
The Pumpkin Festival Committee attributed much of its success this year to its first annual Cutest Pumpkin Contest, which had more than 77 participants.
Your neighborhood.
Hurricane Matthew is currently sweeping the southeast. We'll have the latest on the destruction it has left in its wake.
And German authorities continue the search for a man suspected of planning an attack in the country. That's later in the newscast.
Actually a fairly dry week, and we're also seeing warm temperatures. If we're not in the 60s, we're in the upper 70s, so a big change in temperatures.
All right. Thanks, Kenton.
You got it.
Torrential rain from Hurricane Matthew is causing widespread flooding and devastation in North Carolina. Hundreds have been rescued from the rising water and at least 8 people are dead. 5 others are missing and the flooding is expected to continue for days. Jay Gray reports.
The storm has passed, but the misery is not. Overnight, there were more than 800 swiftwater rescues in North Carolina as people were caught off guard by the rising waters.
Our state is facing major destruction and sadly loss of life.
The Saudi military said it would investigate the airstrike on a funeral hall in Yemen yesterday that killed at least 140 people. The building was packed with hundreds of mourners and many of the injured in the attack were seriously wounded. Emergency workers are continuing to recover bodies from the rubble. The Saudi-led coalition that is fighting in Yemen was blamed for the airstrike. The Saudi military called the attack regrettable and painful, but did not take
to police.
Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said in an interview with Russian television today that aggressive steps by the U.S. pose a threat to Russia's national security. The Russian foreign minister made it clear he blamed the Obama administration for what he described as a sharp deterioration in U.S.-Russia ties. Lavrov also said that Russia had the means to protest its assets in Syria if the U.S. decided to bomb the Syrian government's military airfields. He said he hoped President Obama would not agree to that.
The Mizzou volleyball team continues its hot streak.
Next in sports, find out if the Tigers could win their 10th game.
Here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News after the game. In world news, Sweden could see a permanent 6-hour workday instead of the standard 8. However, we'll tell you why critics say it's a bad idea.
Plus, we'll have more coverage of tonight's debate in St. Louis, along with public reactions. We'll see you after the game.
Looking at the week ahead, we're going to have best chances for rain on Wednesday, another slight chance on Friday as well. Otherwise, we are dry on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Tomorrow, we're at 49 to start off. We'll end it in the middle 70s.
That's our time for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.